Because this is your Feel Good Breakfast show, it is only right that this is the home of Feel Good, right? So this morning, we are joined by a king, the one who makes us smile all throughout the year. I am talking about the good things guy, Brent Lindicky. He is someone who has dropped a book, my friend. It is called Only Good Things. And this is something that I know will touch your heart, because when it comes to the good things that Brent shares, it is all about what it is when we talk about compassion, when we talk about things that are larger than life, and even just the small random acts of kindness that truly make South Africa the country that it is. Ubuntu is at the heart of it all, and more than anything else, it speaks to the goodness that is in each and every one of us. And this is where Brent has shared 100 of the good stories that he found in 2023, and it's here to make us smile all throughout 2024 and beyond. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Brent Lindicky.
What a great welcome.
Oh, I'm so glad. Brent, how are you?
I'm so good. Good morning. It's great to be here.
Yes.
I published a book.
Yes, you did, and it's beautiful. Brent, I can imagine what this has done for just your psyche, what it's done for your mental health. How has it changed your perspective that you are the person who is continuously sharing these good stories, doing all of the, introspection in terms of what it is that it means to be a good person, but more than anything, hearing about them?
Absolutely. So it's been 10 years that Good Things Guy has been alive and kicking and telling these good news stories.
Yes.
And we now have a full team that are working every single day to bring these stories to life.
Yeah.
And towards the end of last year, we sort of thought, listen, it's been 2023. We've told almost 4,000 good news stories in the year.
That's beautiful.
Why don't we take these good news stories and put them in a little book so that South Africa can have something tangible that they can hold, that they can read, and that they can feel good on a daily basis? So we did that.
Yeah.
How does it make me feel? I feel like I've given a gift to South Africa that they can keep on their coffee tables, that they can show their friends.
Yeah.
And when they're having a down day, they can open it up on any page and find something to make them feel more proudly South African.
Come on.
To get a little bit more hope in our country.
Yes.
And to feel good, which is exactly what the show is about.
Exactly. And this is why we love having you here, Brent, because you bring the feel-good energy. And I feel like this specific book is something that, like I said, speaks to the little Ubuntu in all of us.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
But now, Brent, I need to ask you, because, of course, there are so many stories. Which one stuck out for you?
You can't do that.
I can!
You can't do that. Look, there were 100 stories that we put in there. And I think if I have to, I don't want to pick one, because it was so difficult just to choose 100 out of the 4,000.
Yes.
I will say this. The stories that give me all the feels, the stories that make me feel really good about South Africa are the ones where there are humans at the heart of them.
Come on.
Where there's some good South African doing one small thing that is completely changing either their family, their community, or sometimes creating movements that reverberate across the whole of South Africa. It's those stories that really give me all the feels.
And speaking of movements, I want to ask you very quickly, in terms of the common threads that you might possibly find in all of these stories, what were they? Because as South Africans, a lot of us are different, but then we're also just really the same.
We are the same, and I think sometimes we get divided and we might not, whatever. We are stronger together. We are the same.
Yes.
And the reality is that majority of these stories that we tell, at the heart of them, that common thread is one thing. One simple idea.
What is it?
One act of kindness.
Yes.
One good thing. One seed that sometimes becomes a forest. And that's the thread, is it's one thing.
I
It's just
love
one thing.
that.
One good thing.
So let's speak about those things very quickly, because there are a couple of stories that stuck out. First and foremost, the story behind the kind JMPD officer and the stranger with the torn shoes. Speak to us about that.
Right, so this JMPD officer, this story really trended. It really did well on the site and the platform, and people really shared it. But this JMPD officer, on his first day of work, he works in the inner city in Johannesburg, helping little kids cross the road.
Aww.
He was helping the kids cross the road. He noticed, of course, these kids are underprivileged, so a lot of them don't have nice shoes.
Yes.
But there was one in particular that had a really torn old pair of shoes.
Aww.
And it just reminded him of when he was growing up.
Yeah.
And he didn't have good shoes. So he sort of looked at the kid, he looked at the size of the kid's shoes, and that afternoon he used his own money on his first day on the job doing his thing. He used his own money to buy a new pair of school shoes for that kid. The very next day he handed that pair of shoes over. And let me tell you, I don't know if you've ever had a new pair of shoes. What it does to you, what it makes, that way it makes you feel, the confidence.
The confidence, yes.
Imagine what it did for that kid. So we wrote that story, we got to interview the officer, and like I said, the story really trended on the site.
Yeah.
Why? Because it resonated with so many South Africans who saw that small act of kindness. How much can a pair of shoes cost? 45 bucks, 50 bucks, and it changed a life. 100%. It's that easy. It's that easy.
And Brent, this is the thing about you. You bring life to not just anything that you're a part of, but to South Africans with the beautiful good things that you share. So thank you so much for that.
You're so kind.
And I love this book. I think that it is genuinely speaking to what it is to be South African at the end of the day in trying to spread that kindness. So shout out to you and your team. Okay?
Yeah, to the team.
Imagine it just started with one guy. Oh my goodness.
Madness.
It is so beautiful. Remember, it is called Only Good Things. And today I know as well that we always are looking forward to seeing good things because there's so much bad in this world. But as South Africans, my friend, we find it in us that there are good things to look forward to. Right about now, though, of course, you know that your Feel Good Breakfast Show continues right here on S3.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back, beautiful Expresso family. You're on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And as I said, it is the home of Feel Good, which is why we have in the building the good things guy, Brent Lindeke. And Brent, we've been going through these stories. We started off with the JMPD officer.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pangolin that was saved by the Uber driver who stopped at the roadblock. What happened there?
Okay, so we know that the pangolins are the most trafficked mammal in the world.
Yeah.
And they need to be looked after. We really need to be looking after these mammals. An Uber driver picked up a passenger and he saw something funny. He saw the bag was moving. The bag was moving a little bit and he thought to himself, this is a bit odd. I don't like the sight of this. So he rerouted his route to go past a roadblock.
Oh my goodness.
It was his way of sort of flagging something was wrong. And when the police stopped him, I don't know what the signal was, but he was like, and the police did. They found that pangolin. It was a whole trafficking sort of trade that they brought down.
Oh, my
and they
goodness.
managed to save that pangolin. It was still alive, and it got taken to an undisclosed location where it was sent for healing and rehabilitation. And later on, it was released again, which is really good news.
Oh, my goodness. That is so beautiful. And especially people trying to do illegal things, man. Bad.
But there you have the heroes, right? I like to say, my favorite quote comes from a guy whose name is Fred Rogers.
Listening?
And it says, in times of tragedy, we need to look for the helpers because they will always be there. And it's stories like this that remind us there's a helper right there.
Yes, I love that. And also something that helps us as people is music in South Africa.
Yes.
It is at the heart of what a lot of us love and do. And now we have the story of Stevie Nicks and the Ndlovu Youth Choir, rather. Speak to us about that.
So this was difficult to put into the book because last year we had so many of our local acts that were on the global stage.
Yes.
We had the Mzansi Youth Choir. We had the Ndlovu Youth Choir.
We had Tyler. Yes.
We had Musa Motto, who was doing his dancing thing. So when we looked at it, we were like, what are we going to put into the book to remind South Africans that there are these incredible acts that are local that are doing things globally?
Yes.
And it could have only have been the Ndlovu Youth Choir on the America's Got Talent stage, where after they'd performed, Stevie Nicks, as we know her from Fleetwood Mac, she's incredible, she's this global superstar, she wrote a letter, a very short letter, to the Ndlovu Youth Choir, and she said to them, you inspired me so much when I saw you on stage. Thank you for what you do.
Wow.
P.S. Can I please join your choir? Which is so beautiful.
Yes.
Really beautiful.
And I feel like as South Africa at the moment, the international gaze is on us. And I love that it is for things that we are really good at, like music.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Something else we're good at, though, is those coffee beans, honey. And I want to hear about this coffee story. What happened?
So this entrepreneur, he lives in Pretoria, Lemu. He's so great on social media. If you want to follow him, go find him.
He's incredible.
He's incredible. And in 2019, he had a job that took quite long to get to work. He had to travel quite far. And the one day he was sitting in whatever transport he was on, and he thought to himself, I forgot my coffee. Forgot my coffee. And he desperately needed coffee, as we do in the morning. A couple of sort of months went by where he realized, hold on, there's a trick here. On this route from home to work, I see the same cars, I see the same people. There's no way to get coffee. So he left his job. He started this entrepreneurial business where it was called Coffee to Car, where he would deliver coffee so quickly, right there on the side of the road to your car. The business absolutely boomed. He's become a well-known entrepreneur in Pretoria. People now have moved their way to work, have shifted the way they go to work to go and get their coffee from him. And we put this story in the book because it shows you that sometimes when you think out of the box, you can do great things,
100%.
right? Employment is hard in South Africa. Unemployment rate is very high.
Very high.
But perhaps if we think out of the box and we sort of work towards our purpose and our passion, we can really create good things.
Oh, my word. And the good things are being created by you creating these good stories and putting them together for us. And it's so beautiful to see, Brent, genuinely and truly. And this book for me, like I said, is so exciting because I think that it is just, like you said, a little bit of a love letter to South Africa in terms of all of the good that we do as a nation, right?
You've just coined that, a love letter to South Africa.
Literally.
I'm going to use that wherever I go. I'm leaving this book here for you and the team. It can go on your coffee table. It can be part of Expresso. Just thank you for highlighting me and the good stories that we tell.
Yes, and listen, Brent, please continue because I feel like you and the team, and I can imagine how exciting it is to have the team because when you started, it was just you, right?
Just me, all by myself.
And tell me, where did the idea for it come from, actually?
So the idea, I mean, it's 10 years old. The idea was to share one good news story with South Africa every day.
But what inspired you to do that exactly?
Oh, gosh, that's a whole other story.
No, tell us quickly.
In an elevator pitch, so there was an online game that had started. It was called Neck Nominations. Drink as much as you can and then share that with the world. Nominate other people to outdo what you've done. I decided instead of drinking, I would rather feed a homeless person.
Oh, wow.
I went viral globally. I was on CNN and BBC and Sky News. And eventually Ellen was phoning and Oprah. It was crazy, really crazy. And from that, I got pushed into this world where I started to see that there were more good things around us than bad. And I thought to myself, I want other South Africans to feel exactly the same way as me. I want them to feel as proud of South Africa as I do. So that was it. I started sharing one good news story with the world every single day with South Africa and the world. And now, 10 years later, we share up to 15 good news stories every single day.
I love that. And Brent, it literally just speaks to what you said in terms of it takes one moment. It takes one person.
Moment, one thing.
And it's so beautiful. Shout out to you. We love you. And thank you so much for this. We will be keeping it on our coffee table, all right? Thank you. Right about now, we are, of course, crossing to our faves in the lounge. It is Zoe and Carl. Hi, friends.